This is how a narcissist falls apart when you abandon them for good. Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel, dedicated to navigating the complexities of narcissistic personality disorder and its impact on your life. Today, we're diving straight into a topic that many of you have asked about: what happens when you abandon the narcissist? Whether you initiated the end of the relationship or they discarded you and attempted to hoover you back in, the dynamics are worth exploring. So, let's dispel a couple of theories or concepts surrounding this scenario. Join me as we unravel the truth behind what happens when you walk away from a narcissist and debunk some common misconceptions along the way. Whether you're healing from past experiences or seeking insights for the future, this discussion is for you. So, grab a seat and let's delve into this important topic together. You know, there's this idea floating around that narcissists mainly ditch their partners because they're clueless about what they're dealing with. But hey, I think things are changing on that front. People are getting more savvy about narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder. Thanks to all of us spreading the word, it's out there now, and folks are starting to recognize the behavior patterns, connecting the dots, and deciding to bail on narcissists faster. But hey, we've still got work to do to spread this knowledge even more. Now, onto the second thing. People often think, oh, narcissists just skip off to their next victim, leaving me here trying to pick up the pieces. And it hurts like hell. And you know what? It does. I get that. So let's talk about what happens to the narcissist when you give them the boot. There's something going on there that's not talked about much, and I want to shine a light on it. So I got thinking about this because of a short I did about what's the worst thing you can do to a narcissist. Turns out, ignoring and ditching them is right up there. Someone left a comment saying, that's a horrible thing to do to a person. And you know what? They're right. It is terrible. It's the worst thing you can do to someone. Yet narcissists do it all the time. So it's kind of like, well, if they can dish it out, can you do it back? If you've been in a relationship with a narcissist or have been through their abuse, you get it. Ignoring or leaving them, at least for a while until you heal, isn't just about them. It's about saving yourself. You can't stick around in an abusive situation hoping things will change. They won't. Narcissism is a whole personality disorder thing. So, let's dive into how the narcissist feels when you ditch them. We'll start with an intimate relationship. If you walk away from that, it's like the ultimate rejection. Now, if they've already left you but come back for another shot, and you shut them down, that's another level of abandonment. So, there are different layers to it, but trust me, they feel it. Let's start with being in a relationship. Narcissists are masters at messing with our heads. They've got this knack for making us think they're all-powerful, like they're some kind of superior beings. I remember feeling that way myself at one point. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I felt like this person was somehow better than me. It's like they've got this invisible hold on us, and we end up letting them call the shots in the relationship. We start doubting ourselves because of all their sneaky mind games. They seem to have it all together, right? After going through narcissistic abuse, we tend to think they just move on to their next victim without a second thought. We think they're not even bothered about us anymore. At first, they're not really thinking about us. They're too busy strutting off into the sunset, feeling all-powerful and in control. But if you pull the rug out from under them and abandon ship, it's a whole different story. Let's dig into how that hits them. Imagine you've got to travel for work, or you've got plans that don't involve the narcissist. It throws a wrench in their plans. They don't like it one bit when you're not under their thumb. If you manage to slip away for a bit, they'll make it a nightmare before you go, throwing up all sorts of roadblocks to make you second-guess leaving. And even if you do manage to get away and have a good time, when you come back, there's this weird tension that needs fixing. It's like they're punishing you for daring to spend time away from them. They see it as abandonment, like you've betrayed them by taking a break from their control. And that's unsettling for them. They're used to pulling all the strings, so when you slip out of their grip, it throws them for a loop. It's pretty baffling, right? They act all high and mighty before you leave, making it seem like you're the center of their universe. But when you come back, It's like you're a total stranger. I want to dive into this little scenario and connect it with the bigger picture. The moment you realize enough is enough. This person is toxic, and I've got to bail to save myself, my sanity, my family, my whole deal. Think of a narcissist like a grown-up kid who never quite grew up emotionally. They got stuck at a young age, but got really good at figuring out how to get what they want. When you're in a relationship with one, it often feels like you're playing parent to their child. Sometimes they act all authoritative, like they're scolding you. Other times, they switch to being needy, like they rely on you for everything. It's like they want you to take care of them, but never expect to do the same for you. They're like that kid who throws a tantrum when you put them in timeout. When you try to set boundaries or ignore their antics, they might throw a fit or give you the silent treatment until you give in. They don't really attach to you like a kid does to a parent, but they sure expect you to be there whenever they need something. They act like you'll never leave them, no matter how badly they treat you, just like a parent sticking by their kid's side, no matter what. It's like dealing with a grown-up who still acts like a needy kid. When you go away on a trip, they throw a fit, feeling abandoned, even though they've treated you badly. They expect you to always be there for them, like you're trapped in a parent-child role. They lean on you for everything, but they've also locked you into this dysfunctional dynamic. It's wild to see this childish behavior in someone who seems to have it all together. But when you step back, it's like they can't handle it when you take a break or assert your independence, even for a short trip. Now, when you finally decide to leave for good, it's tough. They've probably played the victim card, blaming everything on their past or circumstances. But really, it's their own choices that led to this mess. Sure, their past might have been rough, but it's the way they've lived their life that's made things so chaotic. They'll paint themselves as a victim, but in reality, it's their own actions that brought them here. It's incredibly tough to walk away from someone who once seemed like your hero or a victim in need of saving. You've poured your heart and soul into this relationship, so deciding to leave is one of the hardest choices you'll ever make. But if you've reached a point where staying means sacrificing your own well-being, you have to prioritize yourself. When you finally make that decision, the narcissist is left feeling lost and confused, like the kid who never saw it coming, even though it's happened before. You might feel a strong attachment to them, almost like family, but it's not really love. It's more about meeting their needs and keeping them feeling secure, even if it comes at the expense of your own happiness. Narcissists are terrified of losing their source of validation and attention, aka you. If they catch wind that you're planning to leave, they might beat you to the punch just to keep control of the situation. They'll tell themselves they're leaving you for a while, but then they'll come back around with what's called hoovering. It's like when a kid feels entitled to their parents' attention no matter what. When you do leave, they might react in a few different ways. They could totally break down, throwing tantrums and blaming you to anyone who will listen. Or they might withdraw, sinking into a deep funk until they find someone else to fill your shoes. Then, just like a kid showing off a new toy, they'll come back flaunting their replacement, claiming they've found someone better than you who won't ever leave them. After you've left, they might try to reconnect because they just can't fathom that you'd actually leave them. They've convinced themselves that anyone they're with will never fully walk away. Now, moving on from the big breakup. If they're the ones who left you, it's often because they sense you're onto their game and might leave them first. But let's clear something up. While narcissists can seem icy, they're not untouchable. They're actually pretty fragile deep down. Some even reach such a low point that they contemplate ending their own lives. It's a grim reality, but this disorder wreaks havoc on everyone involved, including themselves. So, while I'm not telling you to feel sorry for them or stick around at the expense of your own well-being, it's crucial to understand the destructive nature of narcissistic relationships and make choices that protect yourself. When they come back to reel you in with their hoovering tactics, it's because they feel like they own you. Something else is probably going wrong in their lives, and they're banking on you to fix it for them. This might sound bizarre, but many folks haven't grasped the ins and outs of narcissism and why these individuals behave the way they do.